Good evening. In Mahindra, basically we make automobiles, and here we are working on 4 different fronts. One is inbound, basically all the stakeholders involved in inbound, and actually we are trying to develop the systems. Actually, how electronically we can convey our requirements, and how actually their qualities can be really monitored. So what we did, we created almost 24 circles of SMEs with the help of Productivity Council of India. And actually they are working together really to take these vendors to that level of quality so that we need not have any checks at our plant. Once material comes, we should be able to really build automobile. Second, actually stakeholder is our own, that is manufacturing. And here our efforts are, as you rightly said, to make the world-class manufacturing. And for that, actually, we are using TPM as one of the powerful tool. And I'm happy to share with you that many initiatives what we have taken, they are almost matching with the Japanese initiatives. And many Japanese are coming to really audit our plant twice in a year. And they are really able to appreciate that many things what are existing in Japan, in automobile plants, they are there in our plants. Especially Nasik and Igatpuri, we have come to that level, as well as Chakan, which are that were new plants. Third one is outbound logistics. There also actually, as you rightly said, how to track each and every vehicle. When we are giving a vehicle, customer is booking a vehicle, when he will get a delivery, that is most important. And actually that date is very, very exciting for him. That day actually he should get the vehicle. So we track that through system because it is integrated with our own servers. Then actually aftermarket. Aftermarket also, once a customer gets the vehicle, what are his feelings, what are the issues? Actually, we are directly connected with our quality teams. So that every day morning, 9 o'clock, when we start our day, we start with the quality. So here actually we are working on all the fronts so that we really make world-class manufacturing systems. And many initiatives we have taken right from, say, production management is almost integrated all across the sector, that when the order is placed by a customer in our server, by a dealer actually in our server, then next day morning we accumulate those orders and we start manufacturing based on that. And those orders, whatever we received, actually we communicate to our suppliers with the same IT help. So he gets the schedule, especially the JIT suppliers who are supplying every 4 hours or somebody supplying every 2 hours. And actually automatic schedules are generated by a system and it is conveyed to him. So there is no need to follow up with such high values cost suppliers. And they actually supply as per the schedule what they actually see on their screen. Similarly, actually for a quality, we are having online quality monitoring system where people actually, if he is having any issue, he immediately enters in the system. And we are having a strategy stages where actually the one guy will check that vehicle, what issues are listed in a system. He will see that each and every issue is resolved, then the vehicle is allowed to go ahead. If at all there is an issue which cannot be really resolved there, then he will identify the vehicle. Then at the end of the line, that vehicle will be taken outside, then it will be attended there, then it will be given to the further processing. So this is a very extensive quality model we actually developed. Actually, we learned this from Renault when we had a collaboration with Renault. And actually we develop in-house. We have not got any outside, this one, our own IT guys, actually they develop themselves. Then monitoring of each and every vehicle when we roll. Actually, we are having a target that whatever vehicle I roll today, by next day it should be ready for display, it should be out. Because nowadays you know that automobile there is a huge competition. And one vehicle is so much, at least 10 lakh plus vehicle. So we cannot really keep the vehicle, even one day one vehicle lies in stock, so it is a cost to the company. So we religiously monitor each and every vehicle, and our target is that within a day's time, vehicle should be RFD and ready to go to the dealership. And on quality front, as I told you that from a dealership, all the dealers are actually connected with our central server. Any issue they face, they just log in on. And next day morning, our quality guy will see that plant-wise. And each plant will really work on that and immediately the corrective action will be taken. So we are really trying to reach to the global place. I'm glad to share with you because we have taken this as a challenge in our company that we want to really exceed in quality with respect to our global competition. And today we are almost reached to the par. We've taken this challenge almost 3 years before. Today we are reached almost to the par. And our aim is to lead this particular segment where we are working. So that our vehicle should be the best in class. That is what actually we are trying to do. And to make this actually, as everyone said, that people are most important. And we are working on people very extensively. Actually, each and every workman we are monitoring for his involvement in work. There are various initiatives like we call as basically I4 idea. That is one of the suggestion scheme. Actually, we learn from many guys, especially Toyota suggestion scheme is a great scheme. There actually they give 60 suggestions per man per year. And actually here we reach up to almost 20 suggestions per man per year. And we actually recognize the efforts handsomely if the suggestion is really good. Almost 10% of the total cost what we save, actually we give as a give point to the individual. So that has really created a lot of enthusiasm in people. Plus actually we have system of Pokayukes as well as Kaizen. And every year Kaizens are really monitored. And at the group level, what we do, the guy who has given really done a good Kaizen as a team, actually we recognize at plant level. Then we recognize at our various plants. We are having 7 plants. At all AFS, we call as auto sector level. Then this year onwards, we decided a group level. And the prizes is very high. For example, if someone really wins his idea, at the say automotive sector level, he will get 1.5 lakh rupees as a gift. And if he goes to the sector level, it is much more than that. And we are working on skill development, where actually we want to really see that our guys should go to the Germany and compete with those guys. And that is what actually our aim is. So we decided various initiatives, for example, automobile, which are the key processes are there. Those processes actually we are selecting the people from each plant. Then there is internal competition. There is a competition with the other auto companies. And from that, who is selected, he will go to the Germany for competition. So this has really created a pull in workmen. So they are not really entangled in day-to-day operations that this is not my work, that is not my work. And today, actually, people are also really knowing that in auto sector, the competition is huge. So we cannot really be talking about very small things. Actually, what is required is really how to take the company ahead of the competition. And that's how actually we are able to really create enthusiasm in people. This is what I feel what we call as a smart manufacturing. All the ingredients actually we should really try to excel and reach to the world class, and rather to surpass the world class. Because every nation will have, every country will have a different culture. So we have to really develop a culture which really suits our country. And our next aim is that really we want to take our products to a global level. So we are really trying very hard to really develop a platform which will be a global platform. And one day actually Mahindra should be known as a global company in automobile. That is what actually we are aiming. Thank you.
Wonderful. I would take this last remark from Mr. Aher as the next question on the agenda. You talked about global standards and exceeding global standards. And as I look around this in room, we have some multinational companies here like SKF or Henkel. These are multinational companies having plants across the world. Even Aditya Birla, for that matter, has multiple plants outside India. When we talk about implementation of IT, implementation of OT, implementation of integration of that things together, or automation on the shop floor, or having a smart shop floor in short, my question to all, and specifically to people who have plants outside India, is how do you benchmark your Indian operations as against your other mother company plants in Europe or US or in other countries? So maybe everyone can pitch in, specifically SKF, Henkel and Aditya Birla can, of course, and Renault experience you mentioned, you learned from Renault. So maybe you can also join in the discussion. You might have seen those facilities, and where do we stand in terms of the implementation of and integration of IT, OT and smart manufacturing?
In our German plants, French plants, UK plants, and in Swedish plants, almost all the plants. The one peculiarity at SKF is that the what we call it as a production channel, the interconnected machines, a set of 20-25 machines, is exactly the same at various plants. So the technology is supposed to be the same, but at the same time it is not running with the same efficiency. What we see at the German plants, the efficiency is say 80% or 85%, what we call it a channel efficiency, which is same to OEE. At our plants, it is 68%, 70%, and the losses are more. And why the losses are more, that has been benchmarked. The plants benchmark with the similar lines. And what we find is that the handling of the technology makes the difference. the technologies are the same, but at the same time, as we go ahead, the maintenance deteriorations are more at our end because there is some sort of a gap in the knowledge, some sort of a gap in the spare quality, availability of the spares right at the next door. For example, in Europe, there is a central warehouse of maintenance spare parts, and in Europe, anything can fly in just 2 hours, 1 hour or 2 hours from anywhere. So when there is a central warehouse, the cost of maintenance spares is also low, and they can maintain practically everything, all the modules, all the sorts of spares and everything. But in India, we can't maintain the similar inventory, so we are dependent on importing it from Germany or from Sweden, and then it takes at least 2 to 3 days to import anything from Europe, even if we use all the fastest means, and that makes a difference. So this sort of things, handling of the space, handling of the technology, we need to develop the backup technology backup in our own country. That's what the conclusion we have come to. We have indigenized the space, we have indigenized the technology support and backup. As he was mentioning in the previous thing, there are many makes available in our factory, in spite of being global also. There are German makes, Italian makes, Swedish makes, and all these makes are having different softwares, different configuration of um, automations, and then it is very difficult for them to talk each other. So there has to be some Indian partner who can handle all these things, and that's how we are developing in past 10 years to have that. So these are the practical difficulties, even if being a multinational.
Yeah.
Okay, one question, Shrikant, I have here is you told one point is the technology handling by our human beings are different.
Yeah.
So how exactly you look at it, the German companies and Indian companies taking that into this one? How exactly the German companies or multinational companies outside India, they are taking
I
the
will-
human
Yeah.
part of it as well as the maintenance part of it.
Yeah, what I will say is that a worker in the channel, he is knowing everything, all the technology of the machine. He is so well versed. He is working since 20 years or 25 years, and he knows each and everything about the machine. Our workers are, we don't have that sort of human resource development parallel to what they are having. Second thing is that the technology in Germany is in German language, and the workers also are talking German language. They don't understand English actually, and since it is in their own mother tongue, they are very familiar to the technology. We don't have the technology in Marathi. We don't have technology in Hindi. So our workers have got that sort of a gap in understanding the handbooks, understanding the machinery related technology things, and so that makes a difference. So they don't easily grasp the English literatures and things.
We are lagging somewhere developing our people than other way around.
Just I have seen a very innovative implementation of this challenge of the language. So one of the large bottling retailers globally had used those voice commands to convert it into data. So the workers are able to listen to the commands as well as if data is required. So in front of their screen, rather than reading some documentation or something and struggling. So there are voice commands which can be given by the maybe supervisor. Then it gets converted to their language which they are able to read. Those are the kind of things.
Yeah, I think this
what
needs to
they
be
are-
emphasized. I have seen in China, the machines which are exported to China by our European counterparts, all the labels, all the screens are made in Chinese language only. But that doesn't happen when it comes to India. So they take it for granted that in India English will do.
Right, absolutely. So I think that is where this kind of innovative solutions can be used. So it is a external public case study. It was run at Coca-Cola, and the solution that you used was with Cisco along with Datria. Datria is a voice recognition software. That is what they did. So maybe if you Google, you will be able to find that as well.
So, I think it's very wrong to start comparing ourselves with Germany. Imagine that India produces something like 7 lakh engineers a year. Germany probably is 1/10 of that. Whereas the German industrial output is bigger than India's. So I don't think we are comparing, it's right to compare these two things because it's a question of very high productivity combined with discipline. I can recall that imagine a system in Germany where I was moving almost the same amount of metal, which is 1,000,000 tons in Europe, and all I had to do was worry about the level of water in the River Rhine, because the entire material was coming from Rotterdam to Neuss, the main plant. And if the level of water was okay, the barges were always on time. Now when I compare that with India, there is no such thing as a single sort of a beautiful, well laid out sort of a waterway system or a railway system that will be efficient. So these are not comparable things. India, it is far more complex. The job that we do over here is far more complex because things are not really systematic, things are not really very organized. So I think maybe there are many things on which they score, but our job here is far more complex. Having said that, where is it that they do well, and where is it that we do not do well? I think apart from the discipline, the infrastructure, and the kind of education that you need in people, processes and systems, something which the Germans would have never done is run a turbine for 9 years. I don't think they would have done it.
Sorry, say it again.
The example that I gave, that we ran the turbine for 9 years, I think the Germans will not run it. The systems are binary. That means if there's a way to do a thing, nobody will question it that I will not do it this way and I'll do it a different way. Well, there are good things and bad things about it, and we sort of try to find out a way which is, it could be an innovative way of doing things, but that doesn't mean that the Germans are not innovative also. So at the end of the day, I think when you go back to the question of benchmarking ourselves, I think we are making improvements. That is what I can say. We are constantly making improvements. In many of the areas, we are probably getting very close. And IT is one area where we are moving pretty fast. In the German retail system, I don't think they are that good. Things are rather sort of sane and stable. There's not too much of competition over there. They don't allow much of competition. So I think there are areas where we are pretty doing well. The thing that we have to do in manufacturing in particular is to see that we have far better collaboration in our system. I think that's where we are lacking. Whether it is a machine to machine, machine to man, man machine, and back to man, that's where the challenge lies. Thank you.
I had a point here. Henkel globally for the adhesives business itself has about 145 plants. Some plants are large, some plants are smaller in size in terms of output also. However, in terms of benchmarking, I agree with you completely that it's not apple to apple comparison. However, we have certain benchmarks which I think should not change from plant to plant. For example, yield. So when I manufacture a polyurethane based adhesives in India, is my yield 98%? What is the global benchmark? So there I think we can compare. Another comparison we have is on productivity, metric ton per person. So again, here it could be completely different there, but we do compare. We also compare unit processing cost, which means per kg cost. So again, it could be different, but two people there could be the cost of 5 people here. So somewhere there could be a comparison. We also compare inventory turns, which means the number of times you turn your inventory. We also compare on a little bit of a higher level total supply chain cost as a percentage to our sales. So these are the 4 or 5 things we compare across the various units and various legal entities. And so some, yes, I agree, may not be comparable as you said. Some I think are, which are hardcore technology based.
I think just wanted to take the cue from Mr. Mukherjee from where he left. Like before Cisco, I was working in a German company. They were one of the pioneers in software. They were the second largest after SAP. The company was Software AG. And I got the opportunity, and I was doing a global sales role, and I was having the opportunity of meeting customers like Mercedes-Benz and some of those large manufacturing companies. And TCS was one of our biggest partner, Tata Consultancy. So one of the things that if I coming at the network world, and when we are talking about the Cisco parlance in terms of networking, data centers, and the entire infrastructure-led solutions, what has happened good in some of these manufacturing companies in Germany is they have laid down very well processes. Okay, and this company where I worked for 3 years, Software AG, they had one of the best product in the world today, which is called Aris, right? And even SAP today, they OEM Aris, and all the German companies, you name it, they have implemented the product called Aris, ARIS. What it basically does, it's a business process management tool. It's a business process management BPM plus a business process analysis. So the reason I brought this up is once you have a well laid out process, you get your people to collaborate, the point which you are talking about, right? You get to see that you have challenges, mitigations, you're mitigating challenges related to your supply chain. Because the biggest deterrent to you is supply chain visibility, right? How you can get real-time visibility to your supply chain. The biggest deterrent to you is how you can get real-time visibility to your production line. So some of these services which are being built as web services, those guys have really adopted very fast. And coming in Cisco, and I have met customers like Mercedes-Benz and Volkswagen and Pune